Hello, everyone, and welcome to another fantastic episode of On the Rise with Candace Cordelia, a Broadway World production. I'm not sure if you have recently seen the fantastic Titanique in Union Square in New York City, but I implore you all to not run, not walk, but swim right on over to check out this fantastic show. I could not stop laughing, and I am so excited to introduce two of the stars of the production rather. We have Elliott Mattox and Russell Daniels. How are you two today?
Good. How are you?
I am fantastic. I'm great. It's so great to see you both. I seriously, internally, I'm still laughing. I don't think seeing the show recently, it is so funny. I read someone stated that the word unhinged was how they would prescribe or definitely define the show. But it's also really hilarious and it's fantastic and great and all the things. So, congratulations on your performances in the show. How are you both feeling so far about the reception that Titanic has had for anyone who's seen it so far?
Good. I mean, I'm coming back to it. So I I did it for a while, loved it, and decided I wanted to come back just to experience a little more. I mean, it's like a bit of a drug. The audiences love it. It's electric. It's unhinged. It's dumb. It's so funny. It's unapologetic about what it is, and it's got some of the best vocals in New York City. So it's just been it's a dream part and a dream show to be a part of, and so I want to come and just do a little bit more to get that little fix, you know.
Yeah,
Completely.
and I'm new to the production. I had seen it, of course. I'd been a fan. But I was so thrilled to join the party. And so it's been very fun getting to know what the audience response is, kind of the ins and outs of the really the the enthusiasm behind the show that we feel in the audience, whether it's someone who's coming for the first time or bringing their friends because they saw it once and had such a good time, or if you've seen it 30 times and you just like can't get enough. It's one of those shows where it keeps bringing people back because it's so joyful.
Yeah.
And completely understood. For you, Elliot, since you just mentioned that you are new to the show versus Russell, how was the process for you in terms of getting involved with Titanic and auditioning and all of that good stuff?
Yeah. Well, I auditioned for the show in July of last year. And I auditioned. It went really well. I felt like a good rapport with everyone. Um, and then it didn't go my way that time, So I kind of like went about my life and was auditioning for other things and doing other projects. And then um and then I kind of saw that there might be openings coming up, and I was like, I would love for that to be I would love to be in the show because it felt so good. And as fate would have it, it was just the right time. And so um I got a call and they were like, we would love to have you come in and join the show. And all that after, an audition 6 months ago. So you just never know when things are gonna come your way. So it was a nice surprise and then kind of a quick turnaround. I've never replaced in a show or come in mid-run to something before. So so that experience was different and quick and fast and furious, but it's been really exciting, and it's been a good flex of some different muscles that I
Mhm.
didn't know I could use.
Certainly. And you play both Victor Garber and Luigi in
Of course.
Titanic. Were those two parts initially what you had signed up to audition for? Did you audition for different parts?
No, I auditioned for Victor Garber. And yeah, I mean, it was pretty straightforward process. It was like I had a video, I came in, I had a callback in person, and then it just kind of wasn't the time. But it always felt like it would be the right time at some point. Um, so yeah.
Power of manifestation, seriously.
Yes, and I put it on my vision board. Hold on, I'll show you.
Wow. Okay. You just never know. You never know, but that's just,
I know.
Seriously.
Well, this is a visual medium here.
Yeah.
So I was doing my vision board at the end of last year in my planner.
Wow, that's beautiful.
First of all, thank you so much. And then look right there.
Wow, yeah.
There it is.
Hell yeah.
Oh my goodness.
So, yes, power of manifestation, and also being really good.
Yeah.
I know that. I mean, you gotta pump yourself up, and you are really good. As are you, Russell. You play Ruth in Titanique, which I can't remember the last time I laughed so hard, just consistently all throughout a show. I just could not stop. My friend and I were just, and my whole section, we were just absolutely almost on our knees, just like it was crazy. But for your role, especially as Ruth, you bring so much life to the character, so much laughs elicited. And I remember there was a specific time where it seemed like you were about to laugh yourself, and then you just kind of held back and you just stayed in character and did what you had to do. So kudos to you. I mean, coming back to the show and being able to play Ruth, how was that for you in just seeing new faces that have come back to the performance itself and being able to just entertain so many different audiences night after night?
Yeah. Before coming to Titanique, I mainly did comedy and sketch comedy in New York. So Titanique has been like a lovely little bridge of growing up, I did musicals and I did the school plays, but a nice bridge of of things. And it's almost like a sketch kind of comedy show. And so there's a bit of a little more freedom than you sometimes experience in shows and musical theater shows in New York, which is really thrilling and just so up my alley and exciting to be able to be a part of every night. And I worked with Elliott's new. I never worked with Elliott before, and a lot of the BGVs and the swings are new. So getting to meet new people, and Titanic does such a great job of finding just the most stupid talented people in New York and putting them in the show. So that was exciting. But then there were some other people who, right when I left, had already been there. So getting to work with them again. And then it's the fans. The Titanic fans are so good and kind and supportive. And it's been really great to get messages from people who saw me when I had done it and are coming back. And you see out in the crowd. I mean, we have one fan who comes almost every night to the show, and so it's like that level of serious fans of this thing. So it's been great and really fun, and a nice it feels like home, coming back to it. So yeah.
And you can tell that. You can definitely see it on the stage, how everyone is just so close, so in sync, just on the ball. And there's so much going on. There's the parody aspect of the show, and then there's also the pop culture aspect, which is really amazing. And there were certain moments where I thought, wow, we're pulling straight from the headlines. Did not expect that. Or straight from references from the 90s and from the Titanic movie itself. For you both, and I'll start with Russell, were you a fan of Titanic the movie before jumping on to Titanic?
I'll be honest, no. I had seen it. Of course, everyone saw it. It was huge when I was a kid. So I remember I saw it in theaters. It was a big deal to see it in theaters. But I hadn't watched it since then. So it wasn't, but I think what's revealed about this show is that even though I'd only seen it once, when I got the script and was reading it, I remembered almost everything. So it is an iconic movie in terms of it made an impact on just seeing it once when I was a kid. That all the references, all the things I remember and got. And I think that that's kind of what they found with this show, is that it doesn't take, you don't have to be a super fan of Titanic to I can't even say the word Titanic anymore. I almost say Titanique when I'm even talking about it. You don't have to be a super fan of the movie to fully get almost everything. It does a blending of the parody and also just so much pop culture and references that it's going to be a good time for most people. Most people. Unless you're a loser and you're lame.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, unless you hate fun.
Yeah.
No, I'm actually very similar. Like I personally, like, my family did not really grow up. We weren't like a movie watching family, but even that being the case, like, we did own the like two cassette
Yeah.
tape of Titanic, like the two VHSs, like in
VHS.
the
Yeah.
box. Yeah, yeah. So I had seen the movie. But I grew up listening to Celine Dion. So my kind of into the show was Celine's music. Um, and also, just going in as someone who had seen the show and enjoyed the show and was obsessed with it, like I didn't really know the like ins and outs of the movie. I just knew, like, the iconic little things that everyone would know. But that being said, I didn't really need that kind of base knowledge. Like, the way they've written the show, you can enjoy it. And like an alien could get
Yeah.
off a spaceship and have never seen Titanic, and I think laugh.
Yeah.
For sure, for sure. I love Celine Dion. I love her. Were you both, well, Elliot, you pretty much answered the question I'm about to pose if you were a fan of Celine Dion. But for you, Russell, or are you also a fan of Celine Dion, or more
I
so?
mean, I'm a fan now. She's undeniably a super talent and just like crazy voice. And what I didn't know really before getting involved in the show is that she's so funny. Like, she's so actually funny, and that you can like totally see how her being the narrator of this is such a good, funny, weird fit. Because when you look at her in an interview, it's just something I didn't know. And then when you see the interviews now and stuff, she's so kooky and so kind of unhinged in a really lovely, delightful way. That now I'm a fan. It's given me a great appreciation for her and how talented and funny she is.
Supremely so. And are you either of you aware if Celine has contacted anyone from the show or has made any statements about the show or aware? But I know she has or is dealing with health issues at the moment, but I don't know if she's.
I know a lot of her team has seen the show.
Yeah.
They've been really sweet, and like I think her creative director from Vegas, when I was doing the show, he came out and he, saw it and gave a really lovely speech after the show to all of us. And so, a lot of people connected to her have seen it and have had sung its praises and said she would love this. And yeah, so
Yeah. And I think there's, like, at the heart of it, it's funny and silly and ridiculous and wild, and it is parody. But at the heart of it, I think the reason why it works is, like, Celine Dion as a person, and then of course the character is like it's like the positivity, like, and the joy for life, and like the love for everyone and everything around her, and the music, it like is unflappable. Like, so I think that is why people connect to her and her music so much, but also why the character works so much as an in for the audience, because she's just this kind of like beacon of fun and joy and positivity, and love.
yeah,
And so I think that spirit really is there in the show.
yeah,
Um, yeah.
Certainly. I mean, one other aspect that I also love about Titanic in general is the interactivity between the cast and also the audience, which I wasn't expecting. I know when I recently went, there was a certain gentleman in one of the front rows that you all kept pointing out. And it was great. It was really good. And I love that. What is it like for you both as performers to be able to interact with the audience? I know for you, Russell, doing comedy and improv, that can certainly be a thing that you're familiar with. But for you both within this particular show, what has that been like to be able to talk with the audience and just really get into it and get them into it as well?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a different animal, I mean, I am traditionally doing more like, proscenium work in a bigger Broadway house where like you might be able to see people in the first row, maybe, but there's not a ton of interaction traditionally. Whereas this one, you're really like in the show because it's so intimate in that space. Like we're all kind of sharing the same space together, and the way the show is staged, everyone's kind of part of the world. Um, I think in my short time there so far, it's just been kind of fun to see how different people react differently to things, and who's a little more down to play in the audience and who might just kind of want to sit there and enjoy. We want to make it a positive and experience for everyone. So it's fun to like be in the to kind of be in like the splash zone of the people like enjoying the show right there. Um, yeah, Russell.
Yeah, and I also think coming from I did some time at Asylum, the original theater that they did. And because that was a small comedy theater, just by nature of how it was structured, there was so much you were in the audience, you're making entrances from the audience. So I think that they were very purposeful about when we transferred to the Daryl Roth, which is a much more traditional setup. I think Ty, the director, and the show too, they wanted to keep that kind of element because they realized how important and how much it served the show having that interaction. So I think they did a really good job of finding creative ways in a more traditional space of us feeling like we have a connection to the audience and being a part of the audience in moments, and that connective tissue between the first space and the space felt like, oh, they found a way to do this, and it is really important in this kind of show. It feels like the audience is very much a part of our show and how the show's going and that sort of thing. So we want to be as connected as possible.
Mm-hmm. I love that. For anyone that is really on the fence about seeing Titanique, particularly because it is a parody, but it's a parody on a movie about a real life historical event that's tragic, what would you tell them in order to say, hey, maybe you should really check this out? It's your decision, but you're going to miss out on something that's really, really great and hilarious, and you should go see it.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's obviously tricky because this real life historical event has become this kind of pop culture touchstone because it was like the biggest movie of all time. And not to get so serious on 11:30 on a Thursday morning, but I think that like these huge like world events that are so tragic, I mean, we all resonate with them for some reason, right? And it's because there is this kind of like fragility of life, this kind of like this tragedy where like, one minute you can be experiencing this amazing thing and then it can just all be gone. So I think the reason to like celebrate is because like, it shows, life is so fragile and it's so, nothing is promised, right? So if we can, find joy in things like seeing a silly show, on a night in New York City and having a good time, like that's something to be enjoyed. But I think there's a reason we connect to tragic stories like this is because it encourages us to like embrace our humanity a little bit more and go out and live.
Mm.
I would also say to people, if they're on the fence, sometimes you hear the phrase like parody musical and you get an idea of something. And this is not that at all.
Yeah.
It is when I first saw it, completely of its own kind. the creators of this show have such a specific sort of vibe about how they write things, and it was unlike anything I had ever seen in such a surprising and refreshing way, that it's really unlike anything else that's happening in New York right now. And even if you were like, I don't even speak English, I don't understand one thing they're saying, it's got crazy good vocals, and our sound designer's done an amazing job making it sound like a concert, like a really great concert. So I just like it checks all the boxes of what you're looking for in terms of a good night out at the theater: fast, funny, and crazy vocals. Like I think that's what most people want to do, and you're not going to leave being drained because
right,
you're questioning, everything in
and
the world.
One act, 90 minutes.
Yeah. One act. Yeah. With the 2-second intermission. Like
we live in a time of 4-hour movies.
Yeah.
You guys, just come see a 90-minute play.
True.
Yeah.
Well, when people went out to see Barbenheimer, I did, and that was like
Hello.
my day. And I did it. So you're absolutely right. You can go see Titanic 90 minutes. It goes by in a breeze. Especially, as you said, Russell, fast, funny, and the vocals are extremely crazy, extremely. So thank you both so much. My last parting question for you is, what do you hope to achieve later in your career, or rather after Titanic, wherever your careers may take you? What are your, if you had your, well, Elliott, you had your vision board, so we saw something there. We saw some things on there, but what else do you want to achieve in your careers?
That's such a great question. Wow. I hope to achieve, first of all, I want to keep working in this community here in New York, because it's unlike anything, and I love that this is my home, and I love being here. And I love being a part of things like Titanique. I've been very lucky in my career to be a part of things that are, very joyful and make people happy. And so that is what I aspire to throughout what hopefully is a very long career. So making people happy while also affording my apartment.
Yeah. Yeah, and I've been in New York. I love New York. I want to stay in New York. This is where I want to live. I've been in New York since 2011, and for years it felt like, wow, I'm trying lots of things and blah blah blah. But luckily, since October 2022, I've been able to be a full-time employed actor, and that's been an amazing, wonderful thing. I got to make my Broadway debut last year, and so it's just been like more of that kind of thing of being able to just be a working actor living in a city that I love and finding new things. Because that's the other thing too, is like I hadn't thought of musical theater would be something in my life really, like truly at this level, and so that's been a really cool surprise to be like, oh, I do musical theater now. Oh, I'm doing a Broadway musical. So I think I'd like to be surprised more of other things that I was like can do and find but at the end of the day, yes, I just want to be able to pay for my apartment and live in New York and act. So that is the goal.
Living the dreams, seriously, living the dreams. Thank you both so much, Elliott Mattox and Russell Daniels, for a wonderful conversation. We got to see a vision board. We got to talk Titanic and all of your fantastic work thus far. And congratulations and good luck to you both for the future.
Thank you
for being here.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Have a good day.
You're very welcome. And thank you all for watching this episode of On the Rise with Candace Cordelia on Broadway World. Check out this interview and more on the Broadway World outlets and social media, website, whatever you prefer. And we'll see you next time. Take care.
All aboard! What do you say? What do you say? What do you say? I'm the king of the world! But I always come back for more, yeah. There's nothing like love to pull you up when you're lying down. much about your life, and I don't know much about your world.